Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with the host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by Debra Bowers, Whitney Stowell, and Nathan Street. How did I go with the names, guests?
Very good.
Perfect.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Incredible. Let's load up the board. Today's categories are wine, world geography, blue movies. These are just movies with blue in the title. Stop being dirty. Meat, medicine, and potatoes. Whitney on the left. You can kick things off.
All right, let's do world geography for 100.
World geography for 100. This country is named after the town of Oporto.
So do we have a button to press?
You
or
just
do we
holler,
say-
Whitney.
Oh, it's going to go Portugal.
Portugal. Well, that's amazing. I just learned something because we've got a sandwich shop called Oporto, and it must be some sort of Portuguese thing. Thanks, Julian, for telling me that. Let's go, Whitney. What would you like next?
So
Let's stick with world geography. Let's go 200.
World Geography 200. The Sea of Galilee is just a broad basin of this river. Something out of the Bible.
Yeah.
Whitney's got nothing. Anybody else?
No, I got nothing.
Euphrates, maybe?
Good
I don't know
answer.
for sure.
That's definitely in the area. Nathan, you got any idea?
Yeah, no. No, none.
Thanks for being honest. The answer is the River Jordan. That was the other one I was thinking. Never mind. Whitney is still in control. Well,
All right, let's go. Let's switch it up. Let's do meat for 100.
meat for 100. The front part of a hind quarter with the flank removed. It may be tender.
Front part of the
Yum. Front part of the hind quarter. So the hind quarter is the back.
Yeah.
Some sort of loin. Not sure. We don't have any butchers in here. Oh, it is loin. Wow, there you go. I thought loin was, any number of...
Too vague.
Yeah,
right?
I thought it was vague, exactly. Whitney, what would you like?
Let's try it. Let's give meat one more time. Let's see what we
Give
got
the man
there.
meat, says Whitney. It's the term for a young pig that's fattened for its meat.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Dinner.
Yeah.
What do you call
Porker.
it when you fatten them up?
Porker?
Porker.
Piglet? It's not a piglet. That's the normal name.
It is called a porker.
Porker.
I thought that was just a kind of slur
Yeah,
against fat people.
Nope.
You got it.
Guess not.
And you got some points there, Debra.
Oh, I did.
What would you like? You're in control now.
Let's do blue movies for 100.
Blue movies for 100, 1980 film in which two shipwrecked kids grow up to be Brooke Shields and Christopher Atkins.
Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon. And it's a little bit sus if you look back at it these days because they were naked quite a bit. Don't ask me how I know. Debra, what would you like?
Let's stay with blue movies for 200.
Blue movies for 200. In this 1930 film, Marlene Dietrich played Lola Lola, a sultry cabaret singer. Blue something. You got to be one of those old movie buffs. Whitney, what was that?
I say we really got to work for these $200.
You do. See, I would have no idea. My wife would know.
Blue Moon,
would know
maybe?
this.
Blue Moon, maybe?
Blue Moon. Let's take a look. The Blue Angel. Yeah, you could just kind of guess a few blue things, and you could probably get your way through it. Debra, you're still in control.
Let's stay with blue movies for 300.
Blue Movies 300. George Gershwin's songs were featured in this 1945 biographical film.
No idea.
Rhapsody in Blue. I've heard of it, but I would not know anything about it. Debra, would you like another blue movie?
Yeah, let's just keep going. What the heck?
400. One of the 2 Elvis Presley films that fit the category.
Blue Hawaii?
Blue Hawaii, says Debra. That's correct. And the other one was GI Blues. GI Blues, yeah. Well done, Debra. You're on 600 points. And you are blue on the scoreboard.
Let's finish that category.
Blue Movies 500. Isabella Rossellini sang the title song, an old Bobby Vinton hit, in this 1986 film. Like, that's a clue.
I'm going to say Blue Moon again.
Blue Moon. Say Blue Moon. Or Blue Cheese.
Moon.
Blue Velvet.
Ah,
Oh, isn't that a David Lynch movie?
it is.
Well, there you go. I bet that's weird. Debra, what would you like?
Oh, again, still to me.
Yep.
Let's do medicine for 100.
Medicine for 100. The test for cervical cancer was devised and named by Dr. George Papanicolaou. Papanicolaou? Dr. George Papanicolaou.
The pap smear?
The Pap smear. That is the worst name for a medical procedure I've ever heard. I don't want anything being smeared. Debra, what would you like?
Let's do medicine for 200.
Medicine for 200. Queen Victoria passed this hereditary blood disease to many of her royal descendants. This is why the royals are all freaks. I take it back. Queen Victoria passed this hereditary blood disease to many of her royal descendants. Hereditary blood disease. What's the one where you can't stop bleeding?
Hemophilia?
Hemophilia. Let's take a look. Is correct. Well done, Debra. Well done.
Starting to get all fired up.
900 points. Just the Red Bull. She's on a tear.
That's what it is.
What would you like, Debra?
Let's do medicine for 300.
Medicine for 300. A disease that comes and goes quickly is acute, while this describes a disease of long duration.
What is chronic?
Chronic. It's also Snoop Dogg's favorite thing.
Yeah.
Debra, well done. What would you like? You're still in control until you lose control.
I'm still.
Yeah.
Let's do medicine for 400.
Medicine for 400. Rickets is caused by inadequate exposure to sunlight or a lack of this vitamin in the diet.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, says Whitney. Nathan, just behind, also got it correct. Whitney, you're on 400 and you're in control now.
Let's just finish off medicine.
Finish off medicine for 500. Weight loss wonder drug semaglutide was originally intended to treat this disease. This is Ozempic.
Blood sugar.
Diabetes?
Diabetes. Oh, Nathan, you were close again. Debra got in there. Debra, well done.
Thank you. Let's go back. Let's go back to meat for 300.
Go back to meat. This country is the world's largest exporter of mutton. It's got to be one
India.
of the countries that always gets joked about having lots of sheep. So, well, Australia, New Zealand, Wales, probably England.
It's gonna be Ireland.
Ireland, yeah, that's another one. Let's take a look. Australia, it is. Well done, Australia. Debra.
Meat for 400.
Meat for 400. This variety meat is the thymus gland, usually taken from a calf, but occasionally a lamb. Ew, it's a gland? That sounds disgusting.
I have no idea.
What's for dinner? Glands. This variety meat is the thymus gland. So they're offal. It's
What is a variety meat?
like
That-
offal, all the kind of weird bits, I think. It's just a nice way of saying the disgusting bits, glands and organs. I'll go with tripe. Sweet breads, yeah. That is just that
The
is
sweetbreads.
disgusting.
I remember that from the Hannibal Lecter movie.
Talked
Talked about the sweetbreads.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was talking about, but now I know.
It's not sweet and it's got no bread in it. It's a trap. Debra, what would you like?
Let's finish it out. Meat for 500.
Meat for 500. Spelling that completes the jingle. Oscar Mayer has a way with
Wieners.
Hello, G
Nathan. Excuse me. Bologna.
Oh.
Nathan's being rude.
I thought they were hot dogs.
I know, they were wieners, weren't they? I always found it funny. Who was that politician called Wiener? And
Andrew Weiner.
He got busted sending a picture of his wiener.
Yeah.
Multiple times. The dude
I
could
gotta
not
say,
learn the lesson.
I was impressed, though, to be honest. But anyway, Debra.
World geography for 300.
World geography for 300. The surface of this lake in Siberia is about 1,490 feet above sea level. The bottom over 5,300 feet below. It's a lake in Siberia. I would not have any idea.
No
of a
idea.
Lake in Siberia.
Hello.
Lake. What does it say? Whoop. Baikal. Oh, of course, old Lake Baikal. I go skiing there in winter. Debra, what would you like?
I can't. What's the far category on the right? I can't even.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. Let's do
Let's do
potatoes
potatoes.
for 100.
100. In England, French fries are called this.
Chips.
Chips. Well done. And in America, it's only the ones in a packet, isn't it? Debra, what would you like?
Let's stick with potatoes for 200, please.
Potatoes for 200. About 10 days before harvest, farmers do this to the vines.
Cut them.
Nathan says cut them. Let's take a look. Cut them sounds pretty good. Cut them down, they do. Nathan, you're on the board and you're in control. That was 200.
Nathan.
Well done,
There we
Nathan.
go.
Let's get the horn for Nathan.
Until I get around to that.
All right. Nathan, what would you like?
Let's do potatoes for 3.
Potatoes for 3. To distinguish a potato from the unrelated sweet potato, it's usually called Irish or this colour.
White.
White is correct. Well done, Debra, the potato queen. What would you like next?
Let's stay with potatoes for 400.
Potatoes for 400. This country leads the world in the production of potatoes. I may have given a clue there with the accent.
Ireland.
That's what I reckon. Totally. I gave you the worst advice. It's actually Russia.
Wow. Oh, because of the
for all
vodka.
the vodka for those terrible alcoholics
I was thinking of
over there.
food.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of food as well while they're making it to get drunk. Anyway, should we do the last one? Potatoes. It's the
Yes.
primary variety of potato grown in the United States.
Idaho.
Yeah. Now, that was Debra. What did you say, Nathan?
Russet.
Okay, let's take a look. It is actually russet. Well done, Nathan.
There we go.
Nathan, what would you like?
Let's do world geography.
World Geography 400. Papua New Guinea is just off this country's Cape York Peninsula.
It's Australia.
Yay! Was that Whitney?
Yep.
Well done, Whitney. Australia's getting a couple of today. That's exciting for me. Whitney, what would you like?
Let's finish off geography.
Geography for 500. One of the 2 Central American countries with only one sea coast.
Belize.
And what would be the other one? It's the place that Trump's sending everyone, I think.
Honduras.
No, it is actually
El Salvador.
Yeah, Belize and El Salvador. You got the first one, and you got it correct, Whitney. You got the points, and you're in control still. You're on 1,300 points. Debra's on 2,100. Nathan's on 700. Whitney, what would you like? We got wine
Let's
left.
do wine for 100.
Wine for 100. Malaga is a sweet dessert wine that originated in this country.
Spain.
It's got to be Espanol. Is correct. Well done, Whitney.
Let's do 200.
200. On wine labels, this word, which means estate, precedes Lafitte and Mouton Rothschild.
What? Which means estate. On wine.
I don't know.
I think it's. I've got it.
On wine.
I think it's Chateau.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Chateau. And there's this crude comedians in Australia, and they released a wine called Chateau de Flore. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Never mind, it's rude. All right, 300, an anatomical term for a wine's bouquet.
A nose.
A nose. Very quick. Well done, Debra. 2 questions left. 400 wine. The term for pouring wine into another container before serving. It helps clear it of sediments.
You let it breathe.
Yeah, but what are we... Okay, let it breathe.
Yeah.
And there is actually an implement that describes the
Oh,
process.
yeah.
You got it?
Now.
A carafe?
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's something. It rhymes with decanter.
Yeah. That's a decanter.
Oh, decant.
Yeah, decanter.
Decanting. All right, I'll give it to you, Debra. Last question.
Last one.
The famous Moselle wine comes from this country. This could be another one for me. This one, I'm not sure. Now that sounds French. It's got to be French. These could be bad clues.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Italy on that one.
Italy, Germany. Well done. Yes.
We named all the countries, but
we've got Whitney on 1400, Debra on 2800, and Nathan on 700. Well done, Debra. You kicked butt. Redboard gave you wings.
it did.
It did. All right, let's wrap that up. All right, Debra, let's talk to you because you're the winner. I love everybody equally, though. And what was it? Deals on Heels. Let's talk about that. What's that all about?
Deals with Heels is my podcast. The full title is Deals with Heels, where female entrepreneurs thrive. And it is a female empowerment entrepreneurial podcast that I started in 2023. And it was really a culmination of, I really started over in my mid 50s. I'm 58. And in 2020, my 20-year marriage fell apart, and my 5 kids had all left the nest. And then in 2021, my mother passed away, and I was really just left with a shell of myself.
Yeah, that's a big one, having all that happen.
I had spent a long time taking care of other people, and the only person left to take care of was me, and I had no idea how to do it and what I was going to do with my life. My ex-husband gambled our entire life savings away. So I was truly starting over, and I spent about 25 years in corporate America running marketing departments for big companies. But then when I had so many kids, I was really helping my husband run his businesses. So I made some non-negotiable boundaries with myself and changed my life, started my life over. I started my agency in 2022 and then started Deals with Heels in 2023. And then this last January, I took over as solo host. So it has been a real passion project for me. I'm really proud of it. And this week we premiered our 61st episode. So
awesome. Yeah, you've got to sort of do it for a while, and it looks like it's going well. And tell us about, so what do you do on your podcast? Do you interview or do you cover content?
I interview typically female entrepreneurs. I only have women as guests, and we have a lot of great.
Just kidding.
We have a lot of great entrepreneurial business marketing and sales information. I'm a marketing and sales expert, and so we focus a lot on that part of growing your business, but also on things like overcoming burnout and knowing when you are in burnout and how to scale. You can't get to 6 figures in your business. You can't get to 7 figures the same way you got to 6 figures. You can't hustle any more than you can really hustle. So we talk about that a lot too, but really just how do you pivot and not fail instead of coming up to an obstacle, which all entrepreneurs do. We all do in life, actually. But a lot of entrepreneurs fail when they hit that obstacle. They don't know which way to go. They've had their mindset so set on, I'm going to do it this way. And then when that way doesn't work, what do? So we talk a lot about working through those types of problems and things that happen, and how I did it, how one of the guests did it, and then all different types of marketing. I've had some great email marketing guests and digital marketing guests this year, and so just all of the things.
And what's your agency called?
Hexagon Media.
Hexagon Media. And what do you do there? Is it a social media agency or?
No, I am really an old girl marketing person. I'm a strategist. I think that my industry has gotten really segmented with a lot of content creators and social media agencies and digital agencies, which frankly can mean anything, videographers and website developers and graphic designers. And to the average business person, we all do the same thing. And what I will tell you is that many of them don't sell. And it's kind of like if you're sick and you go to a surgeon, he's going to find a surgical solution. If you go to a psychiatrist, they're going to find a psychological solution to your problem. If you're a small business person and you go to a social media agency, they're going to find a social media solution for you. And more often than not, you probably shouldn't even be on social media. I meet with business owners all the time who have spent tens of thousands of dollars with someone in that arena, and they got lots of clicks and lots of impressions and lots of engagement in their posts, but they didn't get the only metric that matters, which is, did you get leads so that you could sell to them? And I think we end up kind of in our own echo chamber of success in that, look at all these clicks I got and look at this click-through rate.
Yeah.
But if you asked that business owner, hey, have you ever tried social media marketing? They would say yes, and it didn't work for me.
So
it didn't work.
I like to focus on like actual sales metrics as well. And how do you do it for your clients?
For me, I like to start, if they've been doing marketing of any kind, I like to audit it and see what they're doing, what's been working for them, and where it's broken down. I can look at, let's say we do some digital paid ads, for example, digital search ads are some of my favorite because they're memorable. You'll remember getting them because it's when you search for a new pair of boots and then suddenly you have all these ads for boots. Right? We all remember those because we're like, oh my gosh, Big Brother's spying on us. And Big Brother is spying on you. And we use that information to send ads to you that we think you're interested in so that you're not getting ads for stuff that you're not interested in. So let's say we do those and we get all these click-throughs too and view-throughs and all this activity coming through your website, but you haven't gotten one call, you haven't gotten one lead.
Yeah.
I like to use that data to determine where that breakdown is. So we know the advertising was working because we got that generated clicks through to the website, but the website didn't funnel it in. So now we've got to look at the funnel. How are we doing that? What's the website look like? How are you getting them? The truth is that even though we buy and sell things every single day from all kinds of different people and to all kinds of different people, that when we're talking about our own business, the most important thing, our livelihood, our employees' livelihoods, sales is so far back on the back burner that I have to dig deep to find it. And so incorporating that sales culture within your business from the beginning all the way to that end face-to-face customer and selling them and closing them and making sure they're happy, making sure that is seamless is what I do. I all the way down to sales training for that end customer facing person if necessary.
Yeah.
So that whole system, where does it break? For me, the metrics are for that purpose. They're not to determine if I'm doing a good job or not. They're not for me to pat me on my back. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have some really high click-through rates and I'm competitive. So I like to see them up there. So I know that part of it's working. But ultimately, finding a strategist that can see you through the whole process from beginning to end. How did we generate the lead? How did we build the brand? And then did we actually get the lead? Did we get a chance to talk to them? And if we did, were we able to get business and get a lift in revenue?
Yeah.
And
that's cool. So basically what you do is you run some paid ads with what they've got going on now, and then you can see that there's traffic coming through. Then you make some changes, and then you're able to demonstrate that you've improved like their conversions. Is that correct?
It's pretty correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not doing any marketing at all yet. And it's not always paid ads. We do a lot of other free things too. It just depends on what kind of business it is, what they've been doing, what kind of growth do they expect to have? What are their sales projections and how far are they into getting those? All of those things are really important in determining what they need to do moving forward. And then who's their target audience? How many campaigns do we need to split that up in? Because lots of people will say, oh, anybody that drives a car, for example, they have a car, they could be my customer. Well, that's too vague. Let's pin it down a little bit. How about people that drive European-made cars that are less than 5 years old? Now we're getting there. Or people that are families, so they're driving family vehicles. But families and people that drive European cars may not be on the same websites. They may not be on the same social media. So really digging deep on your targets and who you're trying to get so that we can target the advertising or the organic content towards where they are, where they're viewing, where they're online, what they're doing, and be able to convert them. I don't like waste. I don't like to spend money for people for vanity numbers, so that it just look at all the contacts we got. Because if it's not the contacts that are going to buy from me, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. And how important is sales copy and things like that for you?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, messaging is everything. If you have to, yes, target the message to your specific customer, or potential customer, but if the message isn't the right message, then they're still not going to respond to that. So, for example, families, if you're a family, then you like to have a discount. So a call to action with a discount and savings works really well. But if you're in a really affluent group, then you're not going to respond necessarily to a discount because you might think that that's cheap. I don't want anything that's going to fall apart. Quality is important to me. I don't mind paying for it. Those are two different segments, and the message has to work and be targeted to each one. So that whole, let's just throw it out there. I keep hearing this omnipresent social media strategy coming around. Yeah, just throw it all out there and something will stick. Yeah. I prefer to be much more sophisticated in targeting both where the media goes and what the message says.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is stuff that if you're on your own, it will take you a long time to learn. So Debra's been doing this both in the corporate world as well. So she's got a lot of experience, and there's all of these things you've got to learn, about, like Debra mentioned, funnels, the sales copy, where do I have a discount, where do I put it, all of that stuff. And there's a bit there, but once you've got it all in place, you're pretty much guaranteed of getting better results, I think. So, and the best thing to do probably is to listen to Debra's podcast and get an idea of, what she's talking about. And now, Hexagon Media, I think your site might be having some issues, which happens to me sometimes. So if you can't find that website, give it a day. I'm sure it'll be back up soon. But the other website is dealswithheels.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the podcast. And I always recommend people's podcasts if I've got one, because that's the best way to get to know somebody if you're scared of talking to them on the phone. And then you become friends with them because you listen to them and you ring them up. Thank you very much for that, Debra.
Thanks for letting me talk about it. I love to talk about sales and marketing and what I do. I'm passionate about it and passionate really about my podcast.
Yeah, I love sales stuff and talking to people about that, and things like direct response copy, which a lot of people think is horrible and scammy. I just love it, and probably use it too much. All right, let's pop over. We've got another sales dude, Whitney. You're a sales trainer as well, Whitney Stowell. Tell us a bit about what you're up to.
Sure. No, and by the way, Debra, that's an amazing story and everything that you've been doing, especially as well as building the podcast. So huge props to you, and congratulations on all the success you've been doing. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about me. I run a sales and marketing business development consulting firm where I can go in and help companies build their sales pipelines, account management plans, help them build strategic partnerships so they can ultimately win more business. And I really focus on really business to business, more on the enterprise, but also business to government as well. So they're looking at anything from the larger deals. So it's really more relationship type sales. I really look at where the relationship type environment where you're looking at, 500, $1 million, multi-million-dollar sales where you need to have those touch points, those multiple touch points. Sometimes sales can take 6 months, a year, 2 years to actually build and become a trusted advisor and a thought leader within your overall markets. So that's where I focus on.
And what types of people do you work with? You mentioned, the amount of business they're doing. What types of industries do you work with mostly?
Sure. So I'm mainly focused in the architecture, engineering, construction, critical infrastructure environments, but also government contracting, where it's very much people-to-people type environment. So they need to go out, they need to find partners that they need to work with. And build up, whether it's working with large businesses, whether it's small businesses, need to find, contractors they need to work with. That's the type of environment I'm working with.
So do you help people put bids in to get government contracts?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, that's a big one. And what is it that people get wrong with that process?
So I think there's a couple of layers to that. And one of the most important parts is they need to look internally to themselves, what really differentiates themselves comparable to everybody else. And Debra touched on this. I think a lot of people can get the same services anywhere. And what differentiates you, and why would people actually want to buy your services? All right. And if somebody really wanted them from you, they would tell you that. So I think the number one thing is understanding the foundation of what makes you different. That applies to your sales, to your marketing, to your branding, to your conversations internally. That is the toughest thing to kind of get over. And then you need to reduce the risk of why somebody wants to work with you. They're not going to give you a large contract up front. So I think that's the first thing people need to understand. They need to build trust amongst you that you can execute on this contract, that you can actually will follow up, and you'll do that again and again and again.
It's always the same. It's like Debra talked about putting guarantees in, and it's the same psychology for getting any type of deal or selling something. Is you need to have something in place when you are just at that early level of building trust that's going to make them feel safe, and obviously a guarantee Debra was talking about. And then obviously once you've won the business, the trust then goes higher because they've had a good experience with you. But that initial thing, this is the thing that the prospect is seeing is like, oh, what if this doesn't work? Or what if, it's too expensive and I don't get the results? What are some of the things you can do in these bids to enable trust at that initial stage when the trust is not high?
I think there's several things that you can do. Obviously, you need to have a very open and transparent conversation with the person you want to do business with? Where are the risks with them? How can we do it on time? Do we have the right enough people? Where are their potential risks? The more open and transparent you are with the customer, I think that is the most critical one. The communication is paramount. There are things you can control. There are things you can't control. You can't control the tariffs. All right. You can't control sometimes the lead times on product and services, like those things, but the communication is key. And most customers will work with you on that. But if you're quiet and just expect the perfect solution at the end, there's going to be problems.
Those tariffs are an absolute nightmare, and I cannot believe that it's happening. I'm listening to CNN every day, just like on the edge of my seat. I'm not going to go into politics, but my God, what a bad idea that is. Yes, anyway, and if people want to reach out to you now, is people bidding on contracts, is that the main part of your business, or is it just a part?
No, it's a part. One of it is building, say, a go-to-market strategy, and how do I get into a new market? How do I build out strategic partnerships? Because if they're a large business, how do I get more small businesses I want to be able to work with so they can diversify their overall portfolio?
Can you give us a couple of tips or examples of how?
Sure. So if I'm a large business, I want to make sure I have a lot of large businesses want to have basically a depth chart of small businesses they can work with on upcoming projects. They're vetted experts within their respected niche. How are they? Are they also good within their industry? Do the end clients, do they like them? Are they speaking at trade associations, at organizations, or are they always expecting you to give them a handout of potential work? Relationships go both ways. It's not a transactional relationship. So that is what I also look to help a lot of companies with, is like, you got to establish a two-way street in your relationships with people to actually be able to build trust and be able to get work from one another. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that in the business side of the house.
That's interesting. So are you reaching out to these people and giving them stuff to help them for free?
Yes.
Like what? What sort of things are you giving them?
So some customers, I'll be like, hey, you need to be able to reach out to, if it's a small business, like these are types of companies you need to reach out to build a relationship with. The work will come, but you need to be able to build trust with them because they will have future business with you. Establish a relationship, build over time. The work is not going to come immediately, but it could come in 6 months. It could come in 3 months, could come in a year. But they are the type of people you actually want to have a long-term relationship with.
But so can you give me some like specific examples of this relationship building? Like, what are you giving them donuts, or what are you doing?
No, it's say like let's say I'll give you an example of do you know what? It's a small general contractor. They do like
an electrician or something.
Yeah, an electrician.
Okay.
So they are very good in their niche. They need to work with general contractors. I said, you need to go, let's get you to speak at an upcoming trade show, because for them to understand that you're very good comparable to all the other electricians out there, what do you bring to the table that nobody else has? Why are they going to pick you for an upcoming bid? Give them some information on why you can do the work, but also give them information on the industry, what's going on in the market, so they can have a better information on what's going on, whether it's in this specific opportunity or if it's just in general, because you're sharing information back and forth so you can actually lower the level of risk and establish trust amongst each other. So the electrician would share information. Hey, just want to let you know this is what's going on within the industry. Lead time for some parts are getting longer. It's just sharing information that establishes more trust amongst a lot of people.
And
I really like to use that for, I'm sorry for interrupting,
go.
For referrals, building referral partners. For me, I think one of the things that people forget is that if you give somebody a referral, so in Whitney's instance with the electrician, if the electrician were to give that plumber a referral and because they're building that trusting relationship. So he trusted them first and gave them a referral. Now they're building back. People forget to give when they're out that networking. Don't you think, Whitney?
Yeah, 100%. And I've been talking information, but referral is another avenue of that. You're asking for referrals. So there's so many different avenues that you can focus on this, on how to be able to build relationship that is not specifically focused on, here's an opportunity at hand and I need work. You have to build multiple different avenues on how to continuously establish trust with your client and people that you actually want to work with. But then it just gets stronger, and that infrastructure around it gets very, very, there's just, the bond just keeps growing between everyone.
And how long does this process go for? Like, how long do clients usually work with you?
So it could be on a monthly basis, on an ongoing basis. It could be very project specific, like, for example, in government contracting, they're going after an individual opportunity. So it could be project specific, but those are usually the most usual ways that I work with each other.
Interesting. And have you got anything coming up that you want to plug?
So I write a weekly newsletter called Hustle in the Darkness. It's all about using actionable insights that you can implement into your sales, your business development standpoint. So I write that on a weekly newsletter. I'm speaking at an upcoming conference in May on how to implement AI into your business development portfolio, into your business or go-to-market strategy, and how you can leverage it a lot more so you can reduce the burden on some of your activities.
Yeah, so that's a big one.
Yeah,
and people say, "Oh, you can't." Everyone can tell it's AI. So, but you're writing frameworks with AI. You're not actually doing all your copy with AI, but you're just getting structures, and it just helps. It just saves so much time. So that'll be good.
It does.
Is that what you're speaking about coming up, Whitney?
So yeah, I'm taking it to it's not only the copy. It's more, hey, if you're going after an opportunity and you're looking for teaming partners, you're looking for market research or data or even policies at the state, federal, and local level that you need to be aware about. Like, you can find teaming partners if you properly utilize artificial intelligence. So I go to that level so you can really be prepared on a monthly or weekly basis for opportunities. So I'm taking it to that level. That's how far AI has actually come.
Yeah.
Boy, AI, you can get an AI receptionist to answer your phone that builds empathy. And I talked to one for 5 minutes and didn't know I was talking to an AI, for real.
Yep.
So they have gotten very, very good on that portion of it.
Yeah, and have you seen the outbound sales ones? Those ones I don't think are really the way it's gonna go. But there is this software, and you just put in a spreadsheet of people, and it just cold calls them for you. But it's almost perfect. But with sales, if you feel a bit weirded out, you're not going to do it. But the one you mentioned where you're having people managing incoming calls is fantastic. And you can literally ask a question, it can shoot an answer out, and then eventually it can refer you to a person. You don't have to do the whole push one. It is phenomenal.
Yep.
What's the software you saw, Debra? Or you just experienced it?
It was through Claude. And it was from a guest on my podcast, and she is a consumer relations AI specialist. And so she has tons of the receptionist AI prompts, and they learn, they're adaptable, they have empathy. The one that I listened to one with her that's for a funeral services, and it had empathy.
Hold on.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was, we're so sorry. It was a voice, and I was surprised because I always thought I would be able to tell. And it took a while for me to figure it out that it was an AI. This was actually, the one I couldn't figure out was actually a client. And I don't think the client knew that it was AI. But for me, I was trying to just communicate that I was going to be 5 minutes late for a meeting. And it kept forcing me to go through all the steps, right? And it sounded like I was talking to a real woman and that she couldn't get it. And
You're an idiot. What is wrong with you?
I was like, he knows what it's regarding. I have a meeting with him, but still. And so what I told him was, I said, I think it's AI, but even if it's not, they're padding your minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Because they pay by the minute. It's based on minutes.
Mhm.
And so if they force you to go through every step, they know every phone call is going to take this much time. And that's how they're growing their
The good thing
AI.
about those AI calls is if you do get frustrated, you can just let it fly on them, and it's not a real person. I did that today. I was sending a text in my phone, in my car, and the lady made a mistake, and I just gave it to her, and then she sent the text and then apologized. I was like, that was amazing.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
There's no argument. I've heard though.
I'm sorry you
that
feel
if
that
you-
way. Yeah. Then it
so
drives
sorry
me
you
into a
feel that
tree or
way.
something. Well, that's cool, Whitney. So if you want to check out that, can people book a call with you, Whitney?
Absolutely. Yeah, feel free to go to my website, cribworks.co, or visit my my newsletter.
Cribworks.co, and get on the Hustle in the Darkness newsletter, and
Love that name.
keep tabs
Thank you.
on what Whitney's doing, and maybe have a chat with him. Thank you very much for that, Whitney Stowell. All right, let's pop over to our flipper. Are you a flipper?
No,
You're not a flipper.
no, I'm not. That's a great question. A flipper would be someone that actively involves themselves in real estate.
Nathan
Fund-
Street, by the way.
We fund the flippers. So if Debra,
And here I thought
really-
it was like
A dolphin.
like tumbling, or diving, or
No, I'm way past my prime to do that.
never. I'll never be past it.
Well, I'm not
And it's-
past it, but it would require hospitalisation afterwards. That's all.
Right. There might be pain involved. That much is certain.
Yes.
I've also got to say the 700 points that I earned was just on potatoes, the food, and it may look similar to the shape of the head. I was just noticing that in the and I thought maybe there's some
Hey,
correlation.
I can't comment on that.
So
tell us a bit about this.
so-
So get up to 100% real estate financing, even if you're just starting.
That's right. That's exactly right. So Whitney was just talking about, and I've heard kind of Debra alluding to some of this a little bit too in the marketing. What sets you apart? What sets us apart is the ability to finance pretty much everything. And so if you're new and you don't have an understanding of real estate investing, and truly, a lot of people go out there, they travel, and they see a house or an investment opportunity, and they think, man, that is killer, but I don't know what to do with it. We fund that, and we can help you out. So even if you don't have a background into it, we'll help you with the background. We'll build that up. We'll work with you in part of it. And we'll do that in two ways. We'll either fund directly. So if you want just a traditional loan, we'll set that up to 100%, or we'll partner directly with you so you can work with us. I've been in the real estate investing business and field for nearly 23 years now, something going close to that. I've trained thousands of people around the country. I've been to Australia a few times. Love Australia. Favorite. Side note on that: Cairns, Australia. Oof.
Oh, yeah,
Love it.
Cairns is fun.
Yeah, beautiful. The Gold Coast, gorgeous.
It's like Vegas. Gold Coast
Yeah.
is good place to get drunk and all of that. Now, so I'm property investing and all of that. So, are you a lender, or are you a how does it work? Do you set up the deals and you're doing a Grant Cardone thing? What is it exactly?
So we are a lender almost directly. We'll partner with you because we have the expertise that follows behind that. Yeah, and we can help you complete the transaction from A to Z, finishing it out completely. But we will fund the entire transaction. And what that really does for most traditional people is that limits the risk. And that's where people get the most scared, is they come into this and they think, I can't do it. I don't know what to do. What if I lose? Well, why not take that out of the picture and work with somebody that does know how to do that, that knows how to play that part of the field and is willing to fund it. The easiest way to look at it is we just don't simply have the time to find all of the real estate opportunities, but we definitely have the money. And so we can put it all together to ensure that people can get into real estate transactions.
So are you a non-bank lender?
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like private cash?
Private capital. That's right.
Yeah. And the benefit of this is that there's a bit more flexibility with the deals that they will put together. And people need to have an existing property, though, to start, don't they? And some equity in that.
Well, no, they don't. I think the objective would be to find one of those. We will actually begin working with pretty much anyone if they have the want or the interest in moving into the real estate business. And now, if you're going to get a loan, yes, of course, you want to have a property. You put it under contract. You're aware of it. You know some of the numbers on how it's going to profit. But if you're interested in beginning working with us, we'll start the process right now, even if you don't have something ready to go. So that we can, again, there's a lot that we can do to put something together for you.
And so you specialize in people that want to invest in property. What's the difference between going with you versus going with a mortgage broker?
Well, that's a great question. One, mortgage brokers deal specifically in your traditional bank financing, and they deal with pretty much everything that goes up on the secondary market that's sold, bought by FHA, Fannie Mae type associations. We don't deal in that. So there's not the credit pull, there's not the credit requirement, there's not the history that you're going to have, there's not the oodles of paperwork that's going to be coming with that. When you deal with a private lender like us on that side of things, and you deal specifically with someone within this niche, almost all of that disappears. So if you've been on the work job for just a few months, but you know opportunities out there, or maybe you've got some great income, don't know how to use it, we'll work with all of it, anything in between on those. So there's not that heavy requirement that comes from the banks or those types of institutions that the mortgage brokers are going to require. We can get the funding done in a matter of days, whereas a mortgage broker is traditionally 45 days out. So you've got a big difference in opportunity.
What if I'm saying, look, I want to invest in a property. I don't know what a good property to invest is. Do you help them actually pick a property?
We aren't designed for that, but we can definitely scuttle them along to other people that do that, for sure.
Yeah, and you can definitely sort of say, actually, yeah, that looks pretty good, or maybe not. Interesting. Well, what's the first step if somebody they want to learn more about this and they want to get into property investing? First of all, just say that property is the number one way really to build wealth. I won't say it never goes down, but overall, it's it's one of the safest. Well, it is the safest investment, I think, that you can do. And especially now, there's so much demand for housing. I don't know what it's like in the States, but here it's just houses are just going up so much. Well, they're probably going to go down now due to a bit of economic chaos. But overall, they're a very safe investment. And if somebody decides they want to have a chat to you, they click on that button on your website, and what happens? Then
they're set up with a calendar opportunity, and they can set a time to speak with us directly. You actually speak with myself almost most of the time. So I can run
It's not an AI, Nathan?
No. As they were saying that, and as Debra was talking about that, I thought, what a brilliant idea. Then I can take myself out of it. That would be great.
Well, you could take yourself out once it step in at a more opportune time and let the AI screen those people a little bit.
For qualifying and stuff. And you can actually have it with your voice, Nathan, and then anyway, that's just something else altogether.
I think Nathan Street. Debra's voice and just
Debra's voice.
I have a question. Is it fee paid, or do you do equity partnerships? How does that part work?
That's also a very good question. We can do both, and that really
depends. I thought, but
it depends on who's coming in on the transaction. Because if someone's coming in and they've got a great opportunity however they found it, and they don't have any money, well, then the fee idea is kind of out the window. But the opportunity is still there, and they want to profit from it. But if they come in and they don't want to deal so much with that, and they don't want to partner, they don't want to give up some of their equity in the transaction, but they want to just get in and control it, we'll still help them on that as well. So we can play either side, is whatever's best for that.
The equity partnerships is a good opportunity. And if you are short of cash to get started, what type of equity do you take in the property usually?
Yeah, if they're coming in with nothing, it's usually half.
Yeah, and so then
it still isn't bad. What a damn
you got
good
nothing to
finder's
lose.
fee you're giving somebody. Basically, they found the property and they get half ownership for the finder's fee, and being the local on the ground, boots on the ground person, that's a pretty damn good deal.
What happens if it doesn't go up though?
Say that again.
What happens if the property doesn't go up much?
So the way that it's purchased is always purchased below market. So they just came out with an announcement. There are as many current defaults as in the year of 2008. If you remember, in the United States, 2008, 2009, it just plummeted. Everything went nuts. There are as many defaults currently in the system running this year. Obviously, there's a lot of turmoil and things that are going on, as we know. So there is as much opportunity now as there was back in 2008. During the 2008-2009 time period, more millionaires were made in real estate than in any other period in real estate in the U.S. history. So that, if you think in the grand scope of opportunity, it's massive to be able to get in there and to work on those. And so they're buying below market already. And then the improvement is given on the repairs, and they can either then refinance. We'll teach them how to do that successfully with a local type bank, or they can just sell it and be done with it, make the profit outright, and move on to the next deal. There's kind of a key when it comes to lenders. Yeah. We obviously know we're not the only lender, but I will throw this in there. Most lenders require about 3 to 5 transactions within a year to get the highest performing financing. What we do is we kind of skip that and then allow them to work directly with us so they can build up that 3 to 5 relationship. And honestly, truly, they can move on and do other transactions, find other people, work with private lenders and show them the history that they've done and say, here are things that I have worked on. And they're now improving their business far beyond anything that they traditionally were capable of doing.
Yeah, it's a great way to get in and build that track record. And you mentioned that at the moment there's a lot of defaults in the system. Now, people might not understand what you mean by that. So you're saying that there is a lot of opportunity to pick up undervalued properties to invest in. Is that correct?
That is correct. A default means someone hasn't paid their mortgage. They're not paying their house payment. And the process has started, whether it's at the beginning of the process or towards the end on the actual auction process. But there are a lot happening right now.
There's a lot of opportunities out there. Well, that's very interesting. And your website and your business is called Novum, Novum Wealth. Is that correct?
That's correct.
.com.
You got it.
So the URLs will be in the show notes. So if you want to check that out, it's very interesting. And the fact that there's flexible options where you're not maybe in a traditional spot, you can still kind of get involved. Some of these equity sharing things. I mean, really, what have you got to lose? You split the value of the property, and then that might give you a deposit for another property. And there's a lot of things you can do. So have a chat with Nathan if you want to get in the real estate business. It is the best way to build wealth, in my opinion. Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful. Well, that was very interesting today. I'm going to wrap that up, though. We've been yabbering on for an hour. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. See you next time.